Who's this guy?
Presumed first overall pick of the 2020 NFL Draft, LSU quarterback Joe Burrow. He caught up with our own Colleen Wolfe and Andrew Hopkins to break down a special photo of himself and one of his idols in the NFL.
I was a Saints fan growing up because of Drew. So this was, that was right before the national championship game. So I was trying to act cool, like talk about the coverages that Clemson was going to play, act like I knew what was going on. But deep down, I was like, that's Drew Brees. Like I'm talking to him.
There it is,
was
Joe
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did he give you any advice? That's my question.
Not too much. He kind of sat in the background, and then we just talked a little bit after, and then I got to talk with him a little more last week, and we ran really similar offenses with Joe Brady coming from the Saints, so we just talked ball.
The comparisons right now are you and Tom Brady. Your response to that?
Please don't compare me to the best player of all time. All right, let me do my own thing. Don't do that to me, please.
All right.
It's high praise, though.
It is, but it's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
All right, so Joe Burrow says don't compare him to Tom Brady just yet. But he's going to get to do something Tom Brady did not do, which is, we assume, be drafted in the first round of an NFL draft. All right, so guys, assuming that Joe Burrow is, in fact, the guy he's drafted by the Bengals, and given what you saw at the Combine this week, who should the Redskins draft with the second overall pick?
I feel like you go with Chase Young. Let's not overcomplicate things. I know last year they went with Montez Sweat, who was also a guy that can run fast and get after the quarterback, a little banged up last year. But you think about the young nucleus of talent that they have on the defensive side of the ball to help a guy like Dwayne Haskins. One thing you need when you have a quarterback that's still developing, you need a good run game, some receivers that can catch the rock for him, but more importantly on the defensive side, a defense that you're building that could eventually win games for you while the young quarterback is learning on the fly. Go with Chase Young so he can chase those young quarterbacks.
It's amazing. He's so good. And Young, when I brought his name up to one talent evaluator, said, Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney and Mario Williams all went first overall. He's more polished, and he's probably a better player than those guys coming out of college. So you're saying the best defensive talent ever in the last 10 years for the draft, this guy might be better. And yet... I look at that Redskins roster. Look at what the Redskins' strength of their roster is. It's all about their defensive line already. They are loaded at defensive line. Back-to-back years, they took Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne in the first round. Matt Ioannidis had a big contract this offseason and went out and played even better. Montez Sweat's a first-round pick. You add in these five guys, and then, of course, Kerrigan, who doesn't seem to age and gets on. So that is right there, not just 3 or 4. That's 5 defensive linemen that are already really talented.
Chase Young would be bringing sand to the beach.
Chase Young is, if we're talking about team needs and where we're going from here, Chase Young might be the best out of all those guys eventually, but it's certainly not going to necessarily be their need. To me, go Tua.
Why?
Go Tua. If Tua is everything that everyone says, and Tua is this all-world leader, and Tua can set your franchise apart, don't feel hamstrung by them taking a quarterback with a previous regime. The guy who picked him, Bruce Allen, is not there anymore. The guy who was his coach, Jay Gruden, is not there anymore. Fresh start. When you took the job in Washington, Ron Rivera, without interviewing anywhere else, I am assuming you were told by Dan Snyder, do whatever you want. This is your team now. I'm handing you the reins. Tua, to me, you wait a year. I don't know if it's Dwayne Haskins next season and Tua competing with him, and there's a good fiery competition. If you trade Haskins, like the Cardinals did with Josh Rosen because they loved Kyler Murray. But don't not take Tua for the wrong reasons. The wrong reasons would be not taking Tua because you already have someone that someone else drafted. If you love Haskins, then great, stay with Haskins. But let the Tua conversation happen. Don't close that door. This guy could be a franchise changer.
That'd be big. And I think you have to get rid of Haskins. You weren't going to keep Rosen.
Can't have them both there, right?
I don't think so. Let's take a little look at Dwayne Haskins' Twitter. First, back in January, Chase Young announces he's going to join the NFL. He's going to leave Ohio State. Redskins have the number 2 pick. Look what Dwayne Haskins tweeted in response to Chase Young saying, I'm going to leave Ohio State. He said, see you soon, winky face. Meaning, a lot of people interpret that as, well, we're going to be teammates now.
When was this? What week was this?
January, early January, okay?
Right.
So now people are saying, whoa, I'm not so sure. How about more recently, during the Combine, the last few days when everybody's talking like Peter, pissed off for greatness. That was Dwayne Haskins' response in response to, my team's going to take quarterback. They're going to take Tua. I look at this as a fan about, what is the plan here? A first-round quarterback. Generally, I'm against that, and yet now I don't think it's that crazy. I'll tell you why. Last year with the Cardinals, not only did they get rid of Josh Rosen, they passed on Nick Bosa. They could have had him. He was the Chase Young in this equation because why? They loved Kyler. Is anybody blaming them for doing that right now? They made the right choice. There is no allegiance to Dwayne Haskins. We spent a mid-first round pick on him. Maybe we saw him on the field and didn't like it. Maybe we saw him off the field and didn't like it. And if you love Tua that much, never mind Chase Young, never mind Dwayne Haskins. The quarterback is everything. People will forget you drafted 2 in a row. Get the guy if you love him that much.
I'm glad you brought up the Rosen-Kyler Murray comparison, because think how much heat the Cardinals took for that move. You go out and you get Josh Rosen. It felt very sloppy the way they handled it. And then Kyler Murray, I think, has really sort of moved them in the future. And now they can sort of address their other needs on this team.
Yeah.
Then you can also make the argument, look what the Browns have done. They keep picking the wrong quarterbacks over the years and how that set them back. I do believe that Dwayne Haskins had the injury. There was a lot of instability and dysfunction within the organization in terms of not everyone was on the same page. Dwayne got hurt. Do we really know what he's capable of? This is a guy that wanted to be in D.C. for that matter. This was a hometown kid. I kind of feel like you can't jump ship on him just yet.
That's fair.
That's my thought.
I'm
That's
right there
fair.
with you.
In that Detroit game, and I know the Redskins fan, and Ron Rivera spoke about, against Detroit, he looked great at the end of the season. Like, Haskins really showed some signs. But to me, if you love Tua, and if you really think this is the next 15 years and you're going to be there, you can't not take him because there's someone else who someone else picked.
I think the difference, too, the opposite of that would be, look what the Bears are going through. Like, the Bears are like Trubisky, and we don't want to hear anybody else, and that's the opposite. I think the difference there is Ryan Pace, the Bears GM, he drafted Trubisky. Peter's point with the Redskins is everybody's gone. Dwayne Haskins is nobody's guy who's there. Fresh start. It's actually kind of nice as a fan base. Maybe we get the guy we really want. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's worth a conversation, to your point, though. Let's make our way down the draft board now that we have the first and second picks taken care of. Who should the Lions and Giants then be looking for when they draft the 3rd and 4th overall picks? I think this is also going to be very interesting.
No doubt.
If I'm the Lions, I'm taking Jeff Okudah. Okay, Jeff Okudah was the #1 prospect in college at the position. He is 15 years, going to be a lockdown corner. That's what everyone says. He's the most polished guy. If I'm the Giants, I'm looking at all these great players. And I can't deny Mekhi Becton, what I saw this past week. I'm looking at Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Who's going to be blocking these guys? Mekhi Becton put on such a show. I know it seems early to draft an offensive tackle all the way at number 4 with a guy who maybe wasn't even the bona fide #1 tackle in college last year. But I'm looking at this mountain of a man and saying, just plug him in right there, and someone please protect my young players. I don't know what Nate Solder's future is with the Giants. I'm not sure if Nate Solder's even a Giant next season. I do know Mekhi Becton's going to be starting at left tackle for someone next year. Why not be the Giants and protect 2 young corner pros?
Yeah, you're looking at a mountain of a man. I'm looking at a man who's a monster. I'm looking at Isaiah Simmons. And I believe these guys, both of these teams, could use an individual like that. We're talking the 30th and 31st ranked defense. So right there, these guys need an instant boost on the defense side of the ball. And they both have needs at the defensive line in linebacker position. So you're literally getting a guy that can do both. You got a linebacker. He can play a little bit of D-line. He can come off the edge, play safety if you want him to. And he ran a faster time than Saquon Barkley. Like, what more do you need to convince a team that he's the man for the job than a dude on the other side of the ball that is as fast as your superstar running back?
You guys are looking at Simmons. If I'm those teams, I'm looking at my phone. Absolutely. I'm looking for trades. I'm looking for Kings ransoms. If Tua has not been taken, if Herbert has not been taken, some of these teams, like the Colts, the Bucks, the Raiders, who would have to trade so much to move up this week.
You love trades at draft time.
Hell yes, I do. We don't need a quarterback, and we got the 3 pick. I'm hearing offers trying to give us a Kings ransom, set us up for 5 years. I want to trade that pick. I do.
Open for business? Is that what Gettleman said?
Open for business, baby.
I am